So, Coach, we talked off camera, but just how was the off season? What did you do just to help prepare for this 2019 campaign?
Yeah, I mean, I felt the spring was great, especially because we only lost one player, so we were able to pretty much have all our returners here and worked a lot on different things that we wanted to get better at. Had a good competitive spring. Did some fun stuff, went down to Florida again and just kind of did a park and competed, and so we felt like it was a pretty successful spring. Getting our new assistant also acclimated with the team and being able to have her in the mix, and recruiting very heavy for us as well as always in the spring. So we were able to do that. Summer was pretty good as well. We pretty much had everybody here, so all our freshmen got here in June. All our returners were here since May. So they did a great job in the weight room with our strength coach of really getting stronger, working on the physical side a little bit more on some of the things we wanted to do, and we definitely saw some great progress in that. And then having our freshmen here in June, and they had their open gyms and things like that, but just getting them into the swing of things to get to know campus and all those things was very helpful.
Well, let's reflect one more time on 2018. I had a winning record, but struggled in ACC play.
Mm-hmm.
What can you just see from looking back on 2018 heading into this year?
Yeah, definitely a very important year. I think a year of growth for us to be able to extend our season and play through December. I thought it was very important for the young group that we had. I think it laid a solid foundation. I mean, I think that we're still fairly young as most of our, we're heavy underclassmen group. But I think that the 18 was a very successful year. It also kind of let the younger players understand the grind of the season, the grind of the ACC, how competitive it is, and really have a good vision of where we need to go and some of the things that we're doing. So I was very pleased with 18. I didn't think we outreach ourselves too much, but we definitely didn't underperform. I think that we did a lot of really good things. It took a lot of important steps in the right direction.
Entering year 6, even though you say 5.5, but entering your sixth season of play. Yeah. Let's look back from your first year and just to now. What's been the change in the team, and what's been like having a long tenure here now?
It's been great. I mean, it's very important to just really feel at home at Georgia Tech. I think that this is a wonderful place to work and to kind of do what we do, which is really help young women grow through the sports, and teach them how to be more confident, how to be leaders, how to really do some great things with their future. And I think that no better place than Georgia Tech that helps you do that in every aspect of your life, not just on the volleyball court, but academics, and also with the total person that we're trying to create within our athletic department, with all the leadership and all those things that they get to learn while they're here. I feel like I'm very lucky and grateful to have the opportunity to be here. And I think that understanding what kind of athlete it's going to be successful here, I think it's a very important thing. I think that Georgia Tech is a very unique place, and it's not for everyone, but it's definitely for some select few that are very special. And I think that we have been able to identify the right fit more and more as I get to know and understand a little bit more of what it takes to be successful here, both academics and athletics. So I think that has been one of the biggest changes. Of course, the game has changed. The conference has gotten better. Everything has grown with the sport of volleyball. The game is faster. The players are more physical than they were even back in 2014 when I first had my first season here. So it's been good to see. I mean, it's a different generation, different likes and dislikes, and it has been really fun as a coach to just kind of keep up with the times and try to be ahead of how do we make our players be the best version of themselves and what helps them. And definitely the way I used to motivate and connect and approach the earlier teams are very different than nowadays teams, and so it's always trying to figure that out, finding out what we need to do to be the best for them. It's always our biggest challenge.
Is that because when you first came, you had an upperclassmen group, and now you have your entire recruited class.
Yeah.
I mean, even red shirts you've had from the very beginning.
For sure.
Does that mean that your approach has been different because now you have players that you've known since they were in high school, and you brought them here? Has that changed your approach?
For sure. I mean, I think that it was all a combination of getting through with the players that were here, and they did a wonderful job taking us to all the way to 2016 when we had the best season in 12 years at Tech. And so I think that we were able to grow something, and then we had to rebuild, and one of our biggest challenges has been spread out our recruiting classes and even them out so that we're not so lopsided like that, where a couple of years we're very young and then the other years we're a little more mature. We really need to create a little more balance within those classes, because then that way, as players are graduating, we're able to sustain the experience level, which is a big thing, So I think that's kind of what we've been trying to do, and that has been a little bit different.
Well, let's go to the players themselves now. The outside hitters, I talked with Cody and Michaela. I think it's your deepest group from the outside looking in. Let's talk about that unit. You have seniors and even some freshmen that you're excited about, but what about those outside hitters?
Yeah,
and what
I mean,
you see
outside is definitely always a crucial position, in every team, like every other position. I mean, it's one of the ultimate team sports here. So I think that the outsides are, this has definitely been the most depth we have had and talent we have had in that position since I've been here. So to have Mari, Dominique, Michaela, Julia, all who can play all the way around, who are doing some, really some high-level things with tough situations and things like that, has definitely been really exciting. I think that it gives everybody. Last year, Michaela and Mariana pretty much had to kind of day in and day out be the go-to. I think we have more options now, and I think that is exciting to have, because I think that ultimately it makes everybody else better.
Talking with Cody and Michaela, and I asked what they worked on the offseason. The first thing they said was blocking, and they said that was a big emphasis, and it seemed like it was a combination of themselves looking at last year and the coaching. What was about the blocking that you saw that you said you need to improve on just this offseason?
Well, we finished last in the conference in blocking last year, so we figured that was something that we needed to prioritize and get better if we wanted to compete at a higher level. There were a lot of other things that we were doing at a very high level, but defensively, the blocking and our opponent's hitting percentage, so our serving and our blocking was something that we felt we could take a bigger step towards getting better. And so we hired Arielle Wilson, who was a great middle blocker at Penn State, and blocking was one of her expertise, and we try to surround ourselves with a little more knowledge on that side of the game to try to help. And we've recruited some bigger physical players, and so we feel like that is also going to be helpful to be able to help that skill, and it is something that we're continuing to emphasize. And this week, yesterday it was blocking focus, today it's going to be blocking and defense focus. It's really a side of our game that I think has the biggest room for growth. I feel that offensively and the side out phase, we're doing a fairly good job at. We're doing some really great things. We got a good way to spread out our offense and different weapons and things like that I feel we're very in control. Matt, our setter, is doing a great job with that. So we're really trying to work on things that are a little bit of our weaknesses and trying to make them better and keep raising the bar. So that has been one of the biggest focus so far.
And you have a young group of middles, I think 2 sophomores and a freshman.
Yes.
What about that unit and how they're developing?
We're doing a great job. I mean, middle-wise, we have Cody, who is in the middle, and then as a senior, and then Kayla and Aaron Moss. So we got those 3 in the middle, and Kayla is a sophomore, Aaron is a freshman, and Cody has played for a very long time at this level. So I think that she's a good mentor for them to feed off on and just kind of learn from. And it's just finding ways. I think with Ari on our staff, that was a position that we wanted to give a little more attention to and really develop. And we feel like Kayla and Aaron have a bright future with that position as well, and they can develop into really high-level players in that conference there. And so getting them the guidance, I think, was important, and that was one of our focuses as well, is just to continue to really kind of elevate that position as much as possible.
Yeah, I mentioned Cody. I look at her as an outside more than a middle, but is there is that just the way the rotation is, that outsides will be in the middle, and is that just the way you'll have it set up?
Yeah, no, she's a middle. She has always been a middle.
Oh, okay.
So that's what she's doing, and you know, she's been doing a great job at that. So I'm very proud of how she's coming along. And we have one of Breland is another middle that we have on the roster, but that's currently recovering from an injury.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have your setters. You have Lexi and Maddie, both players who saw a good amount of time last year.
Yeah.
How have both of those players developed through this offseason, and will they both see a lot of time in the non-conference portion of the schedule just to develop?
Yeah, I mean,
that situation?
Hope everybody sees time. I mean, we our conversations with them is always that we know who the 6 are that are going to start, but we feel pretty confident that anybody that's coming off the bench to finish a match, to help us to come in, are going to be just as good and help us, help raise the level of the things that we're doing. So Maddie and Lexi have done a great job of, just conducting. Maddie has been here all summer. Lexi was away doing an internship most of her summers, so she's still kind of getting back into the rhythm of some things that she missed out in the summer, volleyball wise. But I think that they're both now really coming along, and I think this has been the most weapons they have had at their disposal to be able to execute, and so I think that has to be exciting for them as well.
And then you have right sides as well, and Simone and Corey. What about those two and how they incorporate into the rotation?
Yeah, so our right sides, Corey's doing a great job. She's fairly coming along. She's a junior now. She's a lot more experience. Grace Brisby is also another junior who I've seen tremendous development from last fall to what she's doing right now. She's really, has embraced the position, really understanding what we're looking for out of that position, and I think that really trying to get better when it comes to that. And then we have another freshman on the right, Grace McIntosh, who is also doing a really great job, just a very dynamic player, good attacker. I think blocking wise, she's still catching up to the game, but a great addition to our gym. And I think that our gym has become very, very competitive with the returning players, but also with the freshmen and what they have been able to bring to the table to raise our level. So we enjoy practices because I think that there's a lot of decisions I have to make, but I can't go wrong with any decision. I feel like I feel like any way that we go, I really trust my players to be able to put them in positions to execute and for us to win matches. And
then lastly, as far as positions, the libero, defensive specialist, I see a lot of depth there as well. I think up to 5 players are listed as that. Mm-hmm. And a few of them played quite a bit last year. Similar to the setter question, how do you handle that situation with the multiple players who can really get starting minutes?
I mean, I think consistency is going to be the differentiator there. I think they're all talented. They're all very capable of helping us get to the next level. So that is going to be a matter of who stays more consistent and really kind of grabs on their opportunities. But again, I feel like it's just like the right side and the outside and even the middle. It is going to be a position that we're going to be, we're going to be going back and forth a lot. I think that is one of the biggest strengths of this group, is that we do have a lot of depth in each position, more than we have ever had. And so that creates more competition. That creates tougher decisions for me. But I think that, again, it's the players that are more consistent with what they're doing day in and day out, not only in matches, but on a daily basis in practice, are the ones that most likely will have the most opportunities to be on the court.
2 more things. The non-conference portion of the schedule.
Yeah.
It looks like it's very competitive. You have a tournament here, but you also have some other activities.
Yeah.
Just what was the approach to scheduling or setting up this non-conference portion of the schedule for 2019?
Yeah, I mean, our goal definitely to maximize our home environment. We want to make sure that we're bringing in some good competition here. We're challenging ourselves, and I feel like we have done that with the tournaments that we have scheduled. And then the same thing on the road. I think that this road preseason, it's going to be much harder than what we have had, last year. Last year we hosted 3 tournaments. We're a little younger, and so this year I felt like it was time for our younger players to kind of get a feel of what it's like to play some Big 12, some Pac-12 teams, and to really kind of SEC. I mean, we play UGA on the road. We go to Oklahoma. We play Oklahoma State. Oklahoma there as well. And so, it's really, if we want to get to where we want to get with our program, we need to learn how to compete against these teams on the road and give ourselves chances of winning some of those great matches. So I felt like I trusted enough in this group that was the right challenge for them.
And where is that level? Is it, obviously you made the postseason last year, but obviously make the NCAAs. What will the team have to do to reach that maturation level to get that type of postseason bid?
Yeah, I feel like we're going to have to win some matches on the road. I feel like we're going to have to win some conference matches on the road. We definitely need to take care of O'Keefe and protect our home court, but definitely pull some upsets on the road. I mean, we got voted to finish 11th in our conference, and so we got to beat some teams that got voted above us there. Our goal is to be the top 5 in our conference to give ourselves a shot at the NCAA. But it starts with every little match that we play now in preseason, that it's going to help us get closer or farther away from that.
Actually, this will be lasting. You have a tournament this weekend here. I think you start with Long Beach State, correct? Yeah, and I know you always look at the first match of the tournament.
That's right.
So we'll talk about Long Beach specifically. What do you? I know it's off season, so a lot of changes from both sides.
Yes.
But what do you see from Long Beach, and what we have to do well to start off with a win for this year?
Yeah, I mean they're going to be a tough team to play. They have some great defensive players that are going to keep the ball alive. I think very similar to what we saw with Auburn this past weekend on our exhibition match, where there were some great defensive plays out of their back row, and I think Long Beach has a lot of talent there. It'll be interesting to see how they replace some of the people that they have lost, from last year. But I think that they have some key returners on their team that are definitely next level players, and they're going to challenge us. And I think they will be a stronger team than they were even last year. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of match we're going to have. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of nerves from both sides, and just being able to play that first match, but I think we have to take advantage of being home and trusting the things that we're doing in our gym every day. But expect a very big challenge from Long Beach. I think that they're coming in here to have a good tournament, and we have to expect the best from them.